Hello everyone, Veselin here. Today I'm going to show you the use case in which I'm going to put the motion sensors at the front door and either raise the alarm or not, depending on whether someone's supposed to be in house at that moment or not. So rather than explaining one sensor at a time, let's just run this use case to see what happens. I will take this to monitor house X. I will take the reactive task because I will only rely on the data that comes from device in this case. And let's start it. Now, in order to simulate the door being open or closed, I will actually use the labs and just push the runtime data to that. But you can imagine as well that this was happening from device or a gateway itself. Okay, now we see that the door is open and we see that there was no previous incident recorded for this given task. As such, then I should have received the email by now. So let's see what happens. Let's open my mailbox. Okay, hey, there is alarm. How about acknowledging that? So let's see, let's send the alarm and all right. So let's see whether I have received the message. Oh yes, I did. Hey, check the house. Indeed, there is a big alarm. There is an issue. And maybe you have heard I also got an SMS and that was coming from this stream alarm which had to send two notifications. Okay, so let's now do something else. Let me now stop that and take a house Y and let's see what happens if I actually would like to ignore the alarm. So again, let's go here. Let's open the door for house Y. Okay, now let's close this one, not to confuse ourselves, this one and this one as well. Okay, there should be a new mail, yes, that is. Now the new mail, okay, it says, well, ignore it for 1 hour, send it here, alright. Now there is nothing happening, I have not received an SMS or tweet. Let's now again close the door and let's open it again. And voila, the door is open again, but like you see here, there is no mail sent. The reason being that I decided to ignore this particular event for 1 hour. Okay, so let's now try to see what actually happened. Now, first of all, we here had one stream sensor, which was associated with the task resource. That's why I was calling tasks house X and house Y. So this guy would receive the stream raw data. It would check for the parameter called door and then simply check the string whether it was open or closed. So far, so good. Then, if the door was open, we would conditionally check whether there was any item associated with that task ID in the cloud cache. And if there was no, then we would simply send a mail right away because it's the very first time that we send an email on an incident. We don't know whether we should ignore it or not. And that email would have a collected time of the door. It would have the task ID of the task which is running, because this is uniquely identifying, let's say, running logic and things like that. Now, if we have found the item, then we'll check here whether we should actually ignore this incident or not. And this was happening here. So we set like a current time and we checked it against the value which was coming from the stream data. And then if that was indeed bigger, so which meant that we have to send alarm again or send an email again rather. And finally, we had a stream alarm sensor, which was associated with the task ID, because we do not want to raise alarm on let's say on the alarms which come from another house. And then indeed, if that was proven to be alarm, here we would then invoke these two actuators. Now you may wonder, so how these items here have been received? Who was the guy who was sending them? Well, basically, this is a small application I wrote here that, depending on the choices you do here, would push back the response as a stream data towards the cloud cache. And interesting thing about our broker rather. Interesting thing about our broker is that he can both send events back to the application, to the running task, but can also store the data. So at the same time, I would associate the events to store items to kind of memorize whether something has been sent before. And in case there was an alarm sent on a given task ID, I would simply then raise the alarm forward. And that trick was done here. To come back, I would send the reference to the ask.waylay.io where I would say which resource has triggered that, and that would be sent back towards the application with the choices that were actually adjusted to your response here.